This is ridiculous.
You know, it's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group.
Indiana Fever unfortunately hired a snake oil saleswoman.
Definitely White is going to be exposed as a fraud as a coach.
That's not good.
Just moments ago, Stephanie White said the quiet part out loud, and it sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA world. Her words didn't just ruffle feathers, they cut straight to the heart of what fans, players, and analysts have been whispering about for months.
That's not good to hear.
You can't come in here and try to change Caitlin Clark, the person. They don't want Caitlin Clark to do Caitlin Clark no more.
Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying rookie the league has ever seen, is officially not the system anymore. That's not fan drama, not media speculation. That's straight from the head coach's own mouth.
Stephanie White speaking about Caitlin Clark actually learning this new system. And me personally, I feel like she's forcing Caitlin Clark.
And that changes everything. From the moment Caitlin Clark was drafted, the vision was crystal clear. Build the franchise around her, give her the freedom to dominate, and let her reshape the league just like she did at Iowa. But now, Stephanie White is steering her into a rigid system. Wandaksan Ibrizandi Satenti San. That minimizes the very skills that made her a generational force.
Forcing her hand into making her learn this new offense. Listen to what she had to say.
There's so many things that go into, and I'm talking about being happy personally. Like I want her to be happy personally. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. You know, it's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group, and you know, things are happening quickly, and being able to mesh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think we've seen that in.
She wasn't brought in to fit a system. She was the system. Her pace, her court vision, her deep range, those were the pillars Indiana was supposed to build around. Now, it's all getting watered down. The offense is slowing, the spacing's collapsing, and that fearless, free-flowing style that made Caitlin must-watch, it's disappearing fast. What Stephanie White just admitted isn't just a tactical shift, it's a total identity crisis.
Clark is the needle.
Caitlin Clark as the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her.
She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
A once-in-a-generation talent whose skill set shouted, "Build your team around me." The Indiana Fever chose her as the top overall pick, showcased her in media appearances, and promised fans a dynamic, fast-paced, modern offense.
She went on a complete media tour. Do everybody forget about the media tour Stephanie White had prior to the season?
That was supposed to ignite the WNBA like never before, but Stephanie White just flipped the narrative, leaving fans in shock by confirming that Clark is no longer the focal point of the team's system.
She wants them to turn into she wants them to be old WNBA.
We're not going to peak too early, so I mean that's a positive. But I think it's not an excuse. Everyone's playing a back-to-back.
Let that really sink in. The very player who's shattered viewership records, led the team in assists, and lit up arenas nationwide is now being gradually pushed out of the offense. Stephanie White insists she wants structure, insisting Caitlin adapt and learn the system.
Fans is not happy with everything that has been transpiring with Caitlin Clark.
We are stuck watching an elementary school offense because Stephanie White is in over her head.
But what's really happening is that she's tying the hands of the one player meant to transform the franchise. Instead of giving Clark the freedom to lead, accelerate the game, and create opportunities, White is sidelining her into a mere bystander.
Like to me, y'all don't want Caitlin to be Caitlin. Y'all are old guard coaches. This is an old guard coaching staff.
Instead of running the offense, Clark's relegated to spot-up shooting at the top of the key while Natasha Howard brings the ball up. She's no longer the engine driving the team. She's just watching things move slowly, and both the scoreboard and her demeanor reflect that frustration.
Caitlin Clark, plasters over all the cracks. She realistically plasters over all the cracks of this team. This team is not structured well.
Fans were expecting the Iowa Caitlin, swift decision-making, explosive pick and rolls alongside Aaliyah Boston, sharp vision, fast tempo, and electric energy.
They have thrown. Caitlin Clark would throw.
What they're seeing now is a sluggish old-school offense that feels like it was lifted straight out of a 2010 WNBA playbook.
We got all the chess pieces, but we have somebody who knows how to play checkers and not chess. 4 games in a row we've had a double-digit lead and we've lost the game.
One analyst didn't mince words. They said the Fever were handed a Ferrari but refused to shift out of first gear. And when the team falls apart in the fourth quarter, when the offense stalls and leads vanish, it's not because Caitlin Clark dropped the ball, it's because she's forced to operate within a system that doesn't match her exceptional talent.
Stephanie White is going to be exposed as a fraud as a coach. She didn't assemble that team. She inherited that team. Just like she inherited Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell.
The issue isn't with the player, it's the system. And if Stephanie White doesn't make a change soon this season, this rising superstar might just slip away.
Don't know how to rebound. Like, what are we doing here?
When you take a generational point guard and strip the ball from her hands, you're not just adjusting tactics. You're stripping away her very identity. This isn't hypothetical. It's playing out right before us. When Caitlin runs freely, pushes the pace, executes pick and rolls with Aaliyah Boston, or drives hard to the basket, the Fever ignite.
It makes no sense to me. It makes me feel like you're more worried about the people who've been here for years and them getting some kind of shine. That's costing us gain.
They look like a team with flow, purpose, and clear direction until they revert to White's stagnant half-court offense. Then the energy fades, spacing tightens, and movement grinds to a halt. Caitlin turns into a decoy, sidelined rather than empowered, while teammates who aren't natural playmakers take low-percentage shots and force messy possessions. So, who exactly benefits from this system? Natasha Howard, a slow-footed veteran who struggles to finish in transition and lacks defensive urgency. Victoria Vivians, chucking threes on cold nights with no rhythm or consistency. And Sydney Colson, more known for her TikTok presence than her offensive impact.
Lisa Bluter did warn about this, bruh. She warned. You have to let her do what she does. That is part of her greatness.
Caitlin Clark is surrounded by teammates who don't complement her style, and rather than adapting the system to highlight her strengths, Stephanie White is sticking to her own approach. Let's talk about pace. At Iowa, Caitlin was the engine. She controlled the tempo, set the rhythm, and thrived in that controlled chaos. Caitlin, we all know the championship is your ultimate focus, and you're not the type to dwell on individual accolades. So let me do it for you. After a rookie season that was nothing short of historic, breaking 62 records, carrying a last-place team to the playoffs, and finishing 4th in MVP voting, you should have entered 2025 as the clear MVP frontrunner. But that's not the narrative the media ran with. Instead, many defaulted to an A'ja Wilson repeat. Now, to be clear, A'ja is undeniably elite. But when the media didn't pick her, they found other ways to sidestep giving you the spotlight. Excuses, plain and simple.
A couple of things. Do I expect A'ja Wilson to be A'ja Wilson again this year? Yes. But I also know there is such a thing as voter fatigue.
But now, the tide has turned.
There we are right there. Caitlin Clark is officially the favorite to win the most valuable player.
The narrative is shifting, and the momentum is clearly in your favor. With a reloaded roster, a proven head coach, and a full offseason to elevate your game, the buzz around you isn't just about potential anymore. It's about expectation. Analysts, fans, and even critics are starting to realize that what you did as a rookie wasn't a fluke. It was just the beginning.
Clark. Yes! A new career high for Caitlin Clark.
FanDuel, BetMGM, and now even ESPN are all listing Caitlin Clark as the leading MVP candidate, putting her ahead of names like A'ja Wilson and Napheesa Collier. That's not just fan buzz. It's Vegas, it's analytics, and it's people backing their belief with real money. The WNBA media, they're starting to come around too. After a rookie year marked by dismissive tones, veiled skepticism, and forced comparisons, the narrative is clearly changing. They're seeing what fans already knew. Caitlin Clark isn't just talented, she's a generational force. So what caused the shift? A lot has changed, and every factor points toward a breakout, dominant season ahead for both Clark and the Fever.
Way out of that backcourt. Clark, Boston screen, fire away, hits a three.
She's on the verge of going full beast mode, and most people have no idea what's coming. Let's break it all down. But first, hit that like button if you think Caitlin's bringing home the MVP this season. And don't forget to subscribe for all your Indiana Fever updates.
That is why she is my choice for the 2025 WNBA MVP.
Some, like Rachel, saw it before the rest of the media caught on. Caitlin Clark didn't just have a solid rookie season, she had a record-breaking one. She shattered 62 records, including including setting the WNBA single-season assist record as a rookie. That's unreal. And she did all that while being the most targeted, most scrutinized, and most talked about player in the league on a team that was still figuring itself out.
Like she broke the record for assists. I don't think people really understand like how crazy that is to do as a rookie, your first year doing this.
After the Olympic snub, Caitlin went on an absolute tear.
Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. Really physically demanding.
From that moment on, she averaged 23 points per game while leading a team that had been near the bottom just a season earlier. She brought them to the playoffs, elevated everyone around her, and did it all under the most intense spotlight any rookie has ever faced. Naturally, expectations were sky high for her second year, but despite all that, some analysts still didn't view her as a top contender. Bleacher Report's WNBA analyst Nakas Duncan even ranked her 5th heading into 2025, placing her behind Alyssa Thomas, the same Alyssa Thomas who averaged only 10.6 points per game last season.
Caitlin Clark at 5 is crazy to me, and it's crazy to me just off the rip because if we look at the MVP voting from last season, she was number 4 in MVP voting. It was Asia, Nafisa, Brianna, and then Caitlin.
Duncan's reasoning? He claimed ranking Caitlin any higher just felt like too much too soon, especially when it meant placing her above players who had already won championships. Sound familiar? It should. It's the same logic ESPN used when they left Caitlin Clark off their list of the top 5 women's college basketball players ever, despite her being the all-time leading scorer, the face of a cultural phenomenon, and the driving force behind a title game that outdrew the men's in viewership.
How can you be a top 5 player if you have not won a title?
It's one of those situations where the recognition for Caitlin Clark just hadn't caught up to her impact until now. The same ESPN that once snubbed her from their college basketball GOAT list is now calling her the MVP frontrunner, ahead of names like Aja Wilson and Nafisa Collier. Realistically, it's a 3-player race with a steep drop-off in odds after Brianna Stewart. Everyone else is more or less an afterthought. So what changed? A lot, actually. And the truth is, the writing was on the wall months ago. The signs were there. Momentum, major roster upgrades, and the Fever's smart off-season moves. But it wasn't until training camp began that the rest of the basketball world finally started seeing what Fever fans already knew. Indiana made serious moves that instantly elevated them into title contention, and every one of them makes Caitlin Clark even more lethal, starting at the top with their new coach.
Was any coaching at all in Indiana, they would not be 5 games below 500. Again.
Many fans and analysts believed Caitlin Clark and the Fever thrived despite their coach, Christy Sides. While no one openly stated it, the signs were unmistakable.
And I told y'all this last year, well, I didn't tell y'all this last year on air, but like, we saw when they took the pictures with Christy Sides, like when she pulled up on them at All-Star game, her, Kelsey, and AB, and everybody just kind of like rolled their eyes and walked away like she was a groupie.
Yeah,
like that told me everything I needed to know. So when I said like she's not it was based on 2 years of seeing things that just shouldn't have been happening in the first place.
Caitlin mentioned early in the season that she wasn't receiving much guidance from the sidelines. On the court, moments of frustration, players exchanging disconnected glances, and huddles lacking focus all pointed to something not quite clicking. During the offseason, Caitlin subtly referenced the team's lack of strategy and structure. Fans were vocal in their criticism, especially when it came to getting outcoached in close games, and it became clear that change was necessary. That's why they brought in Stephanie White, the 2023 Coach of the Year. From day one, it was clear to Fever fans that this was a major upgrade. Now the media and the league are catching on as they see the noticeable improvements in practice.
Nice, good. Build on this to add then our drags and our step ups. Right here, yep, Tosh. Yep. Let's time it, so we really get you over the top. Yo, we cannot be short on that pass. We can't be short on that pass.
Stephanie White's coaching will help the Fever win, and that directly benefits Caitlin. Better coaching means smarter rotations, more efficient offensive sets, and players actually moving without the ball. There will be more designed plays that highlight Caitlin's vision. with teammates in the right spots to finish those assists. This leads to fewer forced shots, more points on the board, and more overall efficiency. As the Fever rack up wins with this newfound smoothness, the MVP conversation will quickly heat up.
Now you have a veteran coach in Coach Stephanie White. You have seen her be so involved with her players.
Caitlin is clearly impressed with the changes, and Stephanie White's presence alone would have already been enough to boost Caitlin's MVP stock, tightening up team execution, elevating her play, and implementing a solid system. But when you add the new squad into the mix, it's not just an MVP season we're talking about. It's looking more like a full-on takeover.